Alrighty. So,
All right.
what is it? Which day is it?
Today, Saturday.
Saturday, May
9th?
May 9th.
Yeah, May 9th.
May 9th. So, yesterday we played some Synced again.
We did.
And surprise, the game still wasn't extremely stable for both of our machines.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we can back it up a little bit. So when we first tried it out, before we played with everyone, we were actually able to load up the game. We got into Haven with no problem. We actually started the game, got to explore a little bit. And just some things from my side, I initially realized that there's just not enough ammunition in the game. Like, I picked up maybe a couple of rounds, and then after that, once I was done, like, I'm just running the entire time.
Yeah, ammo. I mean, Haven looks like increasingly more and more beautiful, though. Like, you can see every single week as we play the game that Haven is evolving. Like, there's always some new corridor, there's always some kind of new panel that they're putting in, there's always some kind of new interactable UI element within the base. Mm-hmm. And especially when you level up, you can actually unlock different things, and obviously all of those are placeholders, and none of those things are actually going to be the final version. Right?
Yeah, and that actually happened to me. Like, usually when I'm in Haven, it's usually just my character. But then after I leveled up, there was like a survivor. He was just there with me, and I still don't know exactly what they're going to do with it, but it was cool to see someone else in the...
It's all part of the testing, right? Like, you know, like obviously all of those levels and all of those UI elements are not final whatsoever. And it's like they just want to see, like, you know, what happens when you level up, like how things show up, you know, how things load up, how do they appear, and all that stuff. But you know, we are trying to kind of like document every single step of the evolution of the game from this point on. And again, like, our machines are not like the crazy spec'd up ones. Yeah, so they're pretty average in that way.
You know what I noticed that was pretty cool? So like, while you were struggling to get in, on my screen there was like this message that popped up and was like, hey, your computer is doing great, but you're waiting for everyone else's whose computer is a little slower than yours. Yeah. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, the message basically says your PC is faster than other people's. Yeah. And that was pretty funny. So developers definitely have a good sense of humor in that.
Of course they do.
So yeah, we walked around the Haven, we explored. We've noticed that this week that the situation map, the one where you queue up for matching, actually is a little bit more refined. The hologram looks a little bit more hologrammy instead of like a party light show kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And then also we jumped into a match.
Yeah.
And that was the 2 versus 2 versus 1, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a smaller scale. But yeah, as you mentioned, there was a plenty or not enough ammo in the matches, and that's the whole point, obviously, of the survival kind of game, where they're exploring kind of like where things can be and where things should be, and laying out all the whole level design kind of aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, anything that you've noticed and got a highlight of it as you played? Because we survived quite a long time, because obviously there was not that many people.
Yeah. Well, for me, I just loved the feel of it. It felt really good to play. I loved sort of exploring the area, checking things out. The nanos were pretty interesting. My partner at the time did all the syncing for us. And that's the thing, like, the syncing is not actually something that will just come to you naturally. It will take some time to figure out how to sync, how to gather the chips, and how to actually use the nanos to your advantage. So I'm playing around with that, and just, it's okay. Like, right now, I think that it's making good progress, and I'm excited to see what the next update has for us.
Yeah, nanos look more and more refined as well. The animations, the visual effects of you actually killing them, like the sparks and everything, it looks gorgeous. And also, like, the residential area of like some of the parts of the map look extremely gorgeous. I haven't seen any other game where the architecture and like the attention to detail in terms of like people lived here, like. And making it like look livable and sort of like refined. It's extremely impressive. And obviously it's still alpha, right? Like, we don't even have a name for that build yet. But yeah, we played a while, and then when we tried to jump into the big match,
Yeah.
That's where things went.
Complications arrived.
haywire. So, yeah, I mean, crashes are still common, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it was not only us; it was a few developers as well in the studio. But I actually recorded gameplay of Clark, our creative director, of him playing the game. And actually, a very funny thing, like he actually got the crash message, but then he actually dragged it onto the other screen and just continued playing, and it was just fine.
Dev hacks.
And actually, dev hacks. And actually, I kind of, I just watched the whole match from start to finish, and it was pretty exciting. So developers are obviously, all of them, including us, are extremely excited to just play the whole match and see how things go. And obviously, once they decide to lock the feature set and start working on the optimization of the game, obviously we're going to see increase of stability of the game as well.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking forward to. To actually play with the devs, get a good feel of the game when all 48 members are into the game, and it's not just kind of like playing with just the nanos or just kind of walking around, like a real serious match, and I look forward to that.
Well, actually, I've observed a few of them, using the army that they've gathered, and some of them really tried hard to sort of have the combination of chips, because you can only have three at the same time.
Yes, three.
If you hack them with all three, they will get all those abilities, and it was extremely interesting to see some of the combinations. They had like flames, and they had like melee attacks, and they looked differently, and they behaved differently. So that was really cool to see. And yeah, I mean, like the whole studio and all the developers are extremely excited to just like get their hands on the weekly build they're trying to roll out, and we are going to continue playing, obviously, and bring you guys the next step of the evolution of the game.
Yeah, of course. So next time we get in, if we actually can load into the game, we'll be more than happy to give you that footage and show you what it looks like when you first drop down into the battlefield and you're doing your thing to try to help launch the shuttles. So.
Yep. And one of the things that I also noticed is that, speaking of Haven as well before, that Haven is also trying to look also even more realistic in a way of like a crash site.
Yeah.
And it's definitely getting refined as well in that aspect. So I think I've also recorded some footage where like you can see from the last week's like Haven that the ship now looks a lot more damaged and kind of like burned out and stuff like that. So there's a lot of details that they're tweaking, and obviously none of it is final, and it keeps evolving. So I'm super excited to just like get the newest build and just try it out and see how it actually looks like every week.
Yeah, you definitely get that apocalyptic feel when you're playing. Like, hey, this is the end of the world. This huge thing just happened, and now everyone's just trying to pull themselves back together and make do with what they have. So
yeah, and also like obviously not having the story yet in the game built in, you just have to imagine what that could look like, and that's our job, right? Like we need to be able to put ourselves in that position. And obviously, so you don't have to, right? like once you get your hands on the game, you are going to see the extremely polished version of it. But we really wanted to kind of like document this whole journey before we arrive there.
Yeah. So it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And right now, rocky start sometimes with actually playing the game, but I can see the progress. I see the potential, and we're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all that we had to include in this week's kind of update. So yeah, stay tuned for more about just SYNCED in general, and we will try to bring you guys all the information that we could gather every single week.
Yeah. All right. So until next time.
Sweet. Well, let's hope so.